It was just a week ago that we were all talking about Egypt. I guess that thing resolved itself, so that was pretty good. We are on to Syria. It looks like we're going to have a war, possibly later this afternoon, possibly tomorrow. We shall see. I don't want to make light of it, though. 100,000 people have died in conventional warfare, and then suddenly the chemicals have started to be being used this week. It looked like about 1,000 people, but they've been used a couple times before that. And now there's evidence of it, and let's listen to the human tree, John Kerry, discussing what happened.
The indiscriminate slaughter of civilians, the killing of women and children and innocent bystanders by chemical weapons is a moral obscenity. By any standard, it is inexcusable, and despite the excuses and equivocations that some have manufactured, it is undeniable.
All right, that's pretty much the most emotional I've ever seen John Kerry. I don't quite understand the distinction. Somehow it's okay if 100,000 people die by bombs and bullets, but if they cough before they die now, we're suddenly very upset. So let's just start with that. Is the red line, I mean, Obama said the red line thing, so he sort of painted himself into a corner here. Is the red line thing because of chemical weapons? Has that now forced our hand here and we have to do something?
Well, I think Obama said it last year that if they use chemical weapons, that is a hard line for the United States and probably the rest of the world or the Western world. But I think it's very interesting. We talked about this earlier. Like you said, it's okay to slaughter and kill women and children with bombs and bullets and, attacks and sniper bullets and stuff like that. But God forbid they drop one of those bombs with a little bit of gas on it and kill people in the middle of the night. And then suddenly now we're going to do something 2.5 years into this civil war.
Right.
So it's very difficult. I was watching some news last night. I was watching some old generals, some special operators, some strategists, military strategists, and they're like, so we're basically just going to, maybe throw some Tomahawk missiles in there, teach them a lesson, don't drop chemical bombs on your people again, and then kind of pull out and not really do anything. Don't put boots on. I mean, obviously we probably have operatives in there and CIA people and stuff, but as far as and we're announcing it to the world, I don't know. I'd rather probably not do anything and let them have their civil war, because what good is it going to do for the United States or any of the other countries around?
Well, you got to about 5 of the questions that I want to get to, but let's start. Let's start though with just the distinction between which way people can die. Do you find it more okay for 100,000 people to die via conventional warfare than chemical warfare? And again, I'm not diminishing the death.
Well, of course I do, Dave, because I'm an American. I mean, why can't only a depraved animal would use chemical weapons to kill someone? Why can't they use a nice Christian depleted uranium tip bomb like we use here? How about if they drop one of those bombs we dropped on Japan that doesn't kill women and children? Why don't they do Why don't they do that? Because we're so much better. It's so good to see John Kerry get so pissed off about indiscriminate killing, because he served in Vietnam, and if anybody knows about indiscriminate killing, it's John Kerry. So this self-righteous bullshit about chemical weapons, because what he's really saying is, if you're going to kill someone, you better blow their fucking head off. Right. That's what he's saying, because if I go and I see a body without blood on it, I'm upset at you. And that's literally what he said during that press conference.
Because he is actually saying, if you would have just destroyed the whole city that you dropped the chemical weapons in, and then we wouldn't have evidence of it, well, we would have been okay
he's literally
with that.
Said you see bodies laying there without blood on them.
Yeah.
And that upsets him.
And isn't that nuts?
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is all crazy. What this is that we've been committing so many war crimes for so long, and we've been doing so many horrible things that we have to go, look, we're not horrible because we're upset about this.
Right, because we're doing drone strikes right now in Yemen and in other parts of the Middle East, and innocent people are being killed. And
we're doing double taps.
Yeah.
And you know what that is, right?
I do, when they come back again. Yeah. So but that's a whole separate issue. So all right, so let's talk about it. So it looks like we're going to war, but
yay!
We're not going to call it war because we're going to do what we did in Libya. It was they called it, it was an Xbox Connect military action or something.
It's just a strike from a couple boats off the shore, and then we'll go back out into the water.
Right. So Obama, who has always said, you have to have congressional authorization and we should go through the UN. Well, it doesn't look like we're going to do it. But Barack, guess what your buddy Joe Biden said about George W. Bush doing that?
And I made it clear to the president that if he takes the nation to war in Iran without congressional approval, I will make it my business to impeach him. That's a fact. That is a fact.
Okay, so there you have it. That's Biden in 2007 talking about George W. Bush, but now he's the VP of President Obama, who's about to do the exact same thing. Hypocrisy, what?
I mean, I have a hard time taking Biden seriously on anything he says, but now that he's piping in along with John Kerry, I would like it to go to Congress, because I think the Congress, who are supposed to represent the people, which are us, you would hope that they'd have at least a say in if we are going to, I hope not start a war, but if we are going to attack another country and to do what they say is going to happen today or tomorrow, then, I think we should go to Congress.
Yeah. Do you make any distinction between just lobbing a couple rockets, so that's not war, versus, something bigger that then would be war? I mean, I'm pretty sure if Canada lobbed a rocket into the United States, we would consider that an act of war.
Absolutely.
Well, the Al-Qaeda didn't even use rockets, and we considered it an act of war. They just hijacked a couple of planes. So yes, of course. Of course, it's the squiggly line of whatever the fuck we want it to be, whenever we feel like it, whatever serves us, right?
Right. But shouldn't we all be seriously upset with Obama right now? Because he's the one that has pushed this idea of everything has to go through the UN, which now it's very clear that's not going to happen, and everything has to go through Congress.
But he's done a lot of things that he's just pushed through himself, up until this point. So it doesn't surprise me that he is doing that now.
Yeah. So final question on this. Is this actually Obama's fault because of the red line thing? Not that the killing is not his fault there, but because he really did box us into a corner where he said this is...
He could not send off the bombs. He could not order the Tomahawk missiles shipped.
Yeah.
I mean...
Listen, I don't want to go to war. I don't think we should be doing anything there. But can he not do anything?
Because he said, if we use chemical weapons, what would you think of Obama then? Would you think he's a weak president because he said, I'm going to send, we're going to do something if chemical weapons are used, and he doesn't?
I think that's the thinking in Washington, that he set a red line and you crossed it, and now if he doesn't do anything, the credibility of the administration is gone. Is that legit? Is that a legit argument?
He's got credibility issues anyways. But.
Well, that's the thing about those peace prizes, Dave. Nobody ever tries to win a second one.
Perfect ending to this. And Obama got the Nobel Peace Prize before he was president. This is now going to be his second war without going to Congress for it. Okay.